Hey guys, it's Missy Wolf, and I'm here with Collin Raye. I'm so excited, by the way. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's good to see you.
This is a dream for me, you guys. You have no idea, but I've been longing for this interview for such a long time. You have no idea.
You're so
well, you
sweet.
do now.
I do now.
You do now.
That was so nice.
So we're here at the Nashville Elvis Festival, and this is the first year. What is it like for you being one of the very first performers to be at this event?
Well, my friend Brian Mays told me about this, and he said, would you want to be a part of this? And I love Elvis. I mean, I grew up, it was, he was like part of our family. I mean, because my mother had met him when she was a very young teenager and actually sang with him on a few shows. It was a great story, and she just idolized him. And so, I mean, he was a constant, I guess I should say, in our household. And of course, a family that loved music so much. You know, Elvis is, I mean, to say I'm just a fan is not fair. It's not, I'm not a fan. He's just, he's the man, you know, and he always will be. And I think I love opportunities like this where you get a chance to remind folks who maybe are casual Elvis fans or just to how important he actually was to music and to entertainment. There'll never be another guy like that. And so to get a chance to, he said, well, do you want to be a part of this? I'm like, yeah, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. So it was nice to get to come and sing some Elvis songs and you know, talk a little bit about him and about what he meant to my family and stuff.
That's great. I know I was sitting in the crowd, you know, and with everybody, and just watching everybody react to your story too was so much fun. And
well, it's a funny story too.
It's great, yeah.
But my mom got a chance to. She and her sister were teenagers, 17 and 19, and they were singing like a little singing duo that sang in the churches around the area we're from. And in 1956. Sun Records brought a tour through there, and it was Elvis headlining, and then Johnny Cash was on the bill, Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins all on the same bill, and they all drove up in cars, and Elvis was driving his own car, you know, and his two guys were with. He has a two-piece band. That was it. No road manager, no entourage. It was just him and his two musicians, and they came out. You know, the shows were on flatbed trucks, and it was a series of about 6 shows around that area of Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and the promoter asked my grandfather if the girls, my Aunt Becky and my mom, could open the show and sing a few songs, and so they did. And by the third or fourth show, Elvis asked them to come out and sing with him on his shows, or sing Oohs and Ahs in the background. So that actually happened.
That's so great.
And he was already it was early in his career, but he was already the biggest star in the world, you know. So they were beside themselves, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of those moments where, I mean, hello, how would you not talk about that all the time? I mean, what a proud...
And she did. She did till the day she had dementia. She died of some complications of dementia last year. But up until while her mind was clear, I mean, she loved Elvis and talked to, and of course the story kind of grew as the years went by. For people who didn't know, I would hear her talking to friends. Oh yeah, well, you know, like they were close or whatever. But it happened in an instant. It was over a period of a few days. But how many people can say that? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know my mom got to see him perform live, you know, but. I mean, even that, hearing those stories these days, they're just getting fewer, you know, and fewer. And people, you know, my kids' generation, it's just, I don't know, they're not going to experience that. So these festivals are huge and they're important, and it's keeping him alive. And I feel like Elvis is definitely, it's that family heirloom. He's a permanent fixture in our families.
That's,
you know?
That's a good way of putting it. You know, it's because it's not, the music was great and he had so much of it, but it's not just that. But he became such an heirloom to people. I mean, it's a throwback to some people, to their grandparents, certainly to your parents. Men, nobody didn't like him. You know what I mean? Women all wanted him, and the men wanted to be him.
Exactly.
You know?
I was going to say the men were a bit jealous and wanted to be him.
But they wanted. But everybody started wearing their hair like him and growing their sideburns out because he was just so cool. I mean, Jailhouse Rock was on a couple of weeks ago, and I flipped around and watched it, and that was like his third movie. Still, when he was very much in his prime before he went to the Army, and you just go there has never been a guy with that kind of charisma.
No.
There's been some good ones since, but not like that.
Yeah, but I there hasn't been anyone else like him. I mean, he's just he's so high up on the bar, it's ridiculous. And I don't think there's ever going to be anybody who even comes close. And you know, that's the one name everyone knows.
Yeah,
everyone knows,
and always will. And he wasn't. I don't think none of it was calculated. Like a lot of stars who developed a tremendous image for themselves. It was very cultivated, planned out, worked, crafted. Elvis just accidentally was that way. You know, he just was great looking. Obviously, he was born with it, with the looks, but the way, the voice, and the way he used the voice, especially the early records.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, he was such an underrated singer, and like I said, there would have never been a Beatles.
Right.
If John Lennon would have never picked up a guitar,
exactly,
if it weren't for Elvis Presley.
Exactly, and you know, their CMT is actually bringing that whole story back to life with their TV show Sun Records. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, well, we are obsessed with Sun Records, and we talk with cast and crew every Thursday night after the show, and we were talking about that last night with Jerry Lee Lewis III, his son, about how Elvis being brought back to life for the younger generation is so amazing to see, and I love it. But getting to talk to you and hear your story and your, personal accounts from other people, it's just so great. And Elvis is one of those inspirations to so many artists. I mean, Bon Jovi talks about, I had to throw Bon Jovi in there, yes I did, how he was inspired by Elvis, and he's done cover songs too. And it's just, when you really sit down and you think about it, I don't think there's really one act out there who doesn't have some Elvis influence. It's pretty
he's
incredible.
the ultimate star too. So for a lot of people, they just think, because no one's ever going to rise to that level. Now there's been people made more money than he did, because times have changed.
Right.
Music is a much bigger business now than it was when he was around. But still, there was no. It wasn't a news event when it was. I mean, it was a news event when Elvis did something. If he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, the Steve Allen Show, everybody was watching that show, because it was like, what's going to happen? Is he going to do something risque, or and television, America had never, the world had never seen anything like that, and now the world's seen everything. And so there's never going to be that shock. I mean, Lady Gaga put on a meat dress, and it still didn't really raise any eyebrows, because you just kind of go, okay, well, that's just her image. She's trying to, but when he was doing those things, when he was dancing the way he was and moving the way he was, it was like,
right, I know. And then the
gosh.
Screams, he could do the tiniest little thing with his shoulder or his knees or whatever.
Just the look in his, I mean, he was great. He was the definition of swagger.
Yes, definitely.
But yet did it, and here's the thing, as a singer, I appreciate this. You see people who dance. There's a lot of singer-dancers today. Primarily dancers who can sing a little bit, and then in the studio they tune them up, and then they get on stage, they sing into a dead mic and dance. And that's fine, because that's what they do. And Elvis obviously wasn't dancing like that, but he was moving, and he still sang in tune and never sounded out of breath. And so the guy was a really good singer too. Yeah,
I can't even vacuum without being out of breath when I get on the phone call. You know what I mean? Like, I'm keeping it real, guys.
He was a gifted guy.
Definitely. But let's talk about you now. What do you have coming up? Because you are a phenomenal artist.
Thank you.
You're just on the top of the list for me. I have several country artists that I love, and you are definitely on the top of that list. And in the 90s, I'm in high school, and I mean, it was you, and it was Wade Hayes and Ty Hearn, and like you three were my boys.
Oh,
and
I love those
guys. I love you guys all so much, and your music is timeless, and it can be used for so many different events, and it's emotional. You made me cry with Little Rock.
Oh, I was very blessed to get Love Me out of the box. I mean, the very first single I had a single before, but the first big hit I had was Love Me, and got it on the first album, and that was such a blessing, because I was a nobody, and they should have never pitched me that song, but they did, and that started it all. And then but once I saw the impact that because I just wanted to have hits. I just wanted to succeed and make a name for myself and try to get in this business, because I tried so hard for so long, and that was my goal, and I had to do it. But when I saw how that song affected people, with it being played at not just weddings but funerals, and having the lyrics carved on tombstones, I thought, my goodness, I mean, this is powerful. This is more. I have a stronger platform here than I was intending. So from that point forward, I looked for things like that. Obviously, we did some fun, silly stuff too.
You had some great fun songs.
And I love that. I love getting to be animated and and get crazy, and obviously that builds a good show. It makes for a good show, a live show. But when I would hear a ballad like "No, Not That Different" or "Little Rock" or "In This Life," that I thought, or "Think About You," a song that said something, even socially, and thought, you know what, let's I looked at it as a challenge. Let's see if we can make this a hit record.
Right.
And I was very fortunate to be around at a time in the 90s where country radio, thanks much in part to Garth, had opened such a huge swath of what you maybe were allowed to do.
Right.
You know, I was able to push the envelope a lot more than I ever intended. I didn't mean to do that when I got to town, but I thought, you know what? Maybe this is maybe I'm the guy that's supposed to do this.
Right.
Sing songs that have a heavy message, but yet keep it mixed in with the good fun stuff as well.
Well, and that's what I loved. It was so completely, perfectly balanced is how I want to say, because you had those songs that would just bring you to your knees and make you cry, and just, you could feel the story within the song. And that is important for fans. I mean, most of us, we want to feel the music. We want to understand it. We want to know what's going on in that song.
Yeah.
And when you can move someone like that, I mean, that's when, you're doing an amazing job. And some of your songs, they made me cry. And then they were followed by ones that just made me laugh. And I was like, this is just so fun and great.
Thank you. Well, I really tried and to do that. And I do know from a very early age when I decided that I wanted to try to make a living doing this, that whether that just meant playing in bars or, just take it as far as I could. I was always inspired by songs that made me feel something, whether it be, Gentle on My Mind by Glenn Campbell, or Mama's Hungry Eyes by Merle Haggard, or Take It to the Limit by the Eagle. I mean, there was different songs that would make me tear up or make me go, wow. That I want to Dream in My Dreams with You by Waylon Jennings. First time I heard that song, I was like, oh my gosh, it was the saddest thing I'd ever heard. But I loved it. And I was drawn to it. And I thought, if I ever get a chance, I just want to do. I want to do stuff that affects someone that makes them feel the way I'm feeling right now.
Right.
And so that was always the plan, And then sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, but the intention was to always leave lasting music behind, and for the most part, I think we did.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, your songs are always. I always hear them, and like you said, weddings and everything. I mean, One Boy and One Girl. It's just there's so many so many songs.
And they still get played. I mean, like, and that song's 21 years old, 21, 20 years old maybe, because Love. But it was middle 90s. But that one, If I Were You, The Gift.
Yes, all of them. They're great.
Every week, someone in a meet and greet will say, "Oh, we had this played at our wedding," and this one lady recently told me that. She had the song If I Were You. She'd been married 3 times, and she said, I had that song played at my wedding all 3 times. So, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, well, maybe it's bad luck. But I mean, it's people, when people, and it's not like these songs are new.
Right.
So when someone just chooses to do that, or my daughter just got married and we played The Gift. I think that song came out in 1999,
right. But there's something special about the lyrics and your voice, your delivery. You don't get that with every single artist these days. And it's just, it means a lot for fans. And when you're celebrating a special moment, you want the best. And that's why your songs keep getting chosen for that.
I hope so. I hope that's the reason. That is, I think in some ways, artists from my era are going to thrive for quite a while, because a lot of us cut songs. Right. Most of the artists at that time cut really good, lasting songs.
Absolutely.
And I think right now, not to knock the success that's going on now, but I think a lot of it is here today, gone tomorrow type of songs that might be fun to party to right now, or they're big at a festival concert. But in 5 years, somebody's going to remember it. Right. And because they don't say anything. They don't say anything whatsoever.
And that's the big thing, the story, the message, the emotion in a song, what it means. And I mean,
it's hard to find a song on country radio today that does have them. They're there, but I mean, you really got to dig for them. And so many, you may have to listen to 9 that don't before you hear one that does.
Right.
And that's just the way the market is right now. And I really thought that would have ran its course by this point, but it's still going strong. So I mean, I don't even know if it's the same people that I think a lot of the fans of the bro country stuff going on right now maybe weren't country music fans, and they really don't know even who maybe Trisha Yearwood and
that's
Travis Tritt are, but they're fans of this, and so you don't know who the people are that's loving this stuff,
But you definitely have, those of us who crave your music, crave, the Faith Hill, the Martina McBrides, we love that. And yeah, throw in a good party song here and there too. It's fun.
That's always been a part of the format, the genre. But even then, I mean, if you go back as far as Hank Williams, even Jambalaya, I would consider a party song, but it's poetry. It's like Shakespeare. You know what I mean? Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go. Me oh my, me gotta go. Pull a P-road down the. And that's great stuff. And and like you could go on and go on and go on and on. There's always been songs about I'm country, I'm proud of it, and we're gonna have a good time. Yes. But they were always well written, and they always were written with a poetic angle, and effort was put into them. Today it seems like, I mean, I think we could sit down here right now and write about 6 of those.
Yeah, right.
But who knows? Who knows what people like, what they like?
Absolutely. Well, it's music is great, and it speaks when you can't, or whatever. Yeah. It's great, and I love that. But so, what do you have coming up? What are you doing now? I heard you got some special stuff going on.
Well, we just finished my new album, and it's 28 songs on it.
Oh, nice.
And it's all, I know, it's all the hits, and we recut them, same key, same arrangements, added a little spice to them. But I think they're better. I mean, everybody would say that, but I'm really mean it. I think they're way better than the original versions, because I think I'm just a better singer now than I was, especially some of the early stuff. I was still learning, Right. And so it's called the Big 25, and 25, all the 25 hits, 25 years, etc. And then we added 3 bonus tracks on it as well.
Nice.
So it's being mastered as we speak. So hopefully we'll have that out within the next 2 months.
Okay.
I'm excited about that. We're touring with that as well, the Big 25 tour, which will go on into next year. Also have something kind of cool that I've never done before. I'm stepping into radio a little bit. I have a show called Collin Raye's Rewind Country. And what it is, I host these little 1-minute vignettes every day, where it's basically like a country music history moment, where it involves interviews with other artists from all different eras, and we collect the interviews, and then it comes out, you hear that's my story playing, and then I come on I tell a fact about something that happened to this particular artist, this particular song or whatever, and then you hear a piece of the song, and people are loving it, and it's very quick, it's every day, and so, and I'm hoping it turns into eventually where I could have like an interview show of my own, because I love to sit down with artists that I really admire and just talk, and
like me.
Yes, I love it because
it's fun.
It's fun because it's very conversational, like you do, as opposed to more of an interview thing. It's more of a conversation, and so we have a ton of those in the bank, so to speak, already collected. But we're just going to see what happens, But we're 23 markets right now. We're hoping to have 50 by the end of the year, we think. And so we'll see what happens, but it could be like another little mini career for me.
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. And for me, I just have to say, I'm so glad you said it's Conversations, because that's what the name of my segment is called. It's Conversations with Missy. I don't like the cookie cutter interviews, and no offense to anyone that does the interviews, when you have artists that are doing the radio promo tours, everybody asks the same questions. Yeah. And I've heard from so many different artists that, as great as it is, they kind of get tired of answering the same questions over and over.
Worst
and over.
question ever is, tell us something about yourself.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm always so tempted to just go, well, I like to walk naked on the beach. I love to listen to, Fabian records. I mean, just because what kind of open-ended question is that, But but it's when someone who knows what they're talking about, you're sitting down. Conversations are definitely the best interviews.
All right, well, thank
you.
And you
do that.
Thank you. Well, you heard it here, guys. Check him out. His new album's going to be coming out soon. Follow him on tour. Go to his website, find out all the information that he's got, and check out his radio show. Until next time, see ya.